Introduction. 1.1 Brief overview of Yahoo and its history. Offer a wide range of services, including email, news, search, and online advertising. At its peak, Yahoo was one of the most popular websites in the world and a major player in the tech industry. In addition to its core services, Yahoo also acquired and invested in a number of other companies, including Flickr and Tumblr. However, in recent years, Yahoo has struggled to compete with other tech giants such as Google and Facebook and has seen a decline in both users and revenue. In 2017, Verizon Communications acquired Yahoo's internet business, and it was renamed Altaba. 1.2 Mention of the data breaches that occurred in 2013 and 2014. The data breaches that occurred at Yahoo in 2013 and 2014 were among the largest and most significant data breaches in history. The first breach, which occurred in 2013, affected all 3 billion of Yahoo's user accounts, compromising sensitive information such as email addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, and security questions and answers. The second breach, which occurred in 2014, affected 500 million user accounts, compromising similar types of sensitive information. It is believed that the breaches were conducted by state-sponsored actors. Both breaches were discovered and announced by the company in 2016, and had a significant impact on the company's reputation and bottom line, leading to a decline in user trust, and financial consequences for the company. Details of the breaches. 2.1 Description of the scope and scale of the breaches. The scope and scale of the Yahoo data breaches were massive. The first breach, which occurred in 2013, affected all 3 billion of Yahoo's user accounts. This means that every single user who had an account with Yahoo at the time of the breach had their personal information compromised. The types of information that were compromised included email addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, and security questions and answers. This made it easier for hackers to impersonate users and gain access to other online accounts. The second breach, which occurred in 2014, was smaller in scale but still significant. It affected 500 million user accounts, compromising similar types of sensitive information such as email addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, and security questions and answers. This breach was also believed to have been conducted by state-sponsored actors. Both breaches were considered as one of the largest data breaches in the history of the Internet, and it had a significant impact on the company's reputation and bottom line, leading to a decline in user trust, and financial consequences for the company. 2.2 Information on what data was compromised, e.g. email addresses, passwords, personal information. In the context of a data breach, compromised data refers to information that has been accessed or obtained by unauthorized individuals. This can include sensitive personal information such as email addresses, passwords, social security numbers, financial information, and more. The specific types of data that are compromised will depend on the organization or system that was targeted, as well as the methods used by the attackers. In general, the more sensitive the information, the greater the potential impact of the data breach on individuals and organizations. 2.3 Discussion of how the breaches were discovered and by whom. The discovery of a data breach can happen in a variety of ways, depending on the specific situation. Some common methods of discovery include internal monitoring. Organizations may have systems and processes in place to detect unusual activity on their networks or within their systems, such as unusual login attempts, data transfer, or system changes. This can include intrusion detection systems, security information and event management (SIEM) systems, or other tools and technologies. External notification. In some cases, a data breach may be discovered by an external party, such as a customer, vendor, or security researcher. This could happen, for example, if a customer notices suspicious activity on their account, or if a security researcher discovers a vulnerability that is being exploited by attackers.
Law enforcement. Data breaches may also be discovered by law enforcement agencies, either through their own investigations or through cooperation with other organizations. Accidental discovery. Sometimes a data breach may be discovered by accident, such as an employee or third-party contractor discovering a vulnerability or an unsecured server containing sensitive data.
Users and customers may lose trust in the company's ability to protect their personal information and may doubt the company's commitment to security. This can lead to a loss of customers, as well as financial and legal consequences. In addition, the company may face reputational damage and a loss of credibility in the market. In the case of Yahoo, the company's reputation was significantly harmed following the data breaches, and it faced numerous lawsuits and regulatory fines as a result. The company also struggled to regain the trust of its users, which contributed to the decline in its market share and ultimately led to the sale of its core internet business to Verizon. In general, data breaches can have a lasting impact on an organization's reputation and user trust, and can take a significant effort to recover from. 3.2 Effects on affected users, e.g., identity theft, spam emails. When a data breach occurs and personal information of users is compromised, the affected individuals may experience a variety of negative effects. Some of the most common effects include identity theft. One of the most significant risks associated with a data breach is the possibility of identity theft. If personal information such as social security numbers, birth dates, driver's license numbers, financial information, and other sensitive information is compromised, attackers may use this information to open bank accounts, take out loans, or make unauthorized purchases in the victim's name. They may also file taxes or open credit card accounts in the victim's name. Spam emails. After a data breach, individuals may begin to receive spam emails or phishing attempts related to the breach. These emails may attempt to trick the individual into giving up more personal information, or may contain malware or other malicious content. Fraud. In some cases, attackers may use compromised information to commit fraud, such as making unauthorized charges on credit cards or taking out loans in the victim's name. Loss of privacy. A data breach can also lead to a loss of privacy, as personal information such as email addresses, phone numbers, and other contact information may be made public. Emotional distress. Finding out that their personal information has been compromised can cause a great deal of emotional distress for individuals, including feelings of vulnerability and betrayal. Financial loss. Identity theft can result in financial loss for the victim. They may have to pay for credit monitoring services, legal fees, or even have to pay back money that was stolen in their name. It is important for affected users to take action to protect themselves and their personal information, such as by monitoring their accounts for suspicious activity, changing passwords, and placing a fraud alert on their credit report. They can also consider freezing their credit to prevent further damage from identity theft. 3.3 Financial consequences for Yahoo, e.g., decline in stock price, loss of users. The financial consequences of a data breach can be severe for an organization, and Yahoo's data breaches were no exception. Some of the financial consequences that Yahoo faced include decline in stock price. After the data breaches were announced, Yahoo's stock price dropped significantly. This was due to a combination of factors, including investor concerns about the company's ability to protect user data and the potential for legal and regulatory fines. Loss of users. Following the breaches, many users were hesitant to trust Yahoo with their personal information, resulting in a loss of users and a decline in market share. This also led to a decrease in revenue from advertising and other sources. Legal and regulatory fines. Yahoo faced a number of lawsuits and regulatory fines as a result of the breaches. The company had to pay out settlements to users and was also required to pay fines to regulatory agencies. Costs of investigation and remediation. Yahoo also incurred significant costs associated with investigating and remediating the breaches, including the cost of forensic investigations, legal fees, and customer notification and credit monitoring expenses. Brand damage. Yahoo's reputation was significantly harmed following the data breaches, which led to a loss of credibility in the market and affected Yahoo's ability to generate revenue from its core business and other ventures. All of these factors combined had a significant impact on Yahoo's financial performance and ultimately led to the sale of its core internet business to Verizon. Data breaches can have a lasting effect on an organization's financial performance, and it may take a significant effort to recover from the financial consequences. IV. Responses to the breaches. 4.1 Actions taken by Yahoo to address the breaches and improve security. In response to the data breaches, Yahoo took a number of actions to address the issue and improve security. Some of these actions include conducting investigations. Yahoo conducted investigations to determine the scope and impact of the breaches, as well as to identify the cause. These investigations were led by internal IT and security teams, as well as external experts such as forensic investigators and incident response consultants. Notifying affected users. Yahoo notified affected users of the breaches and provided them with information on how to protect themselves and their personal information. The company also offered customers free credit monitoring services. Implementing security measures. Yahoo implemented a number of security measures to help prevent future breaches, such as implementing two-factor authentication, strengthening password policies, and increasing monitoring of suspicious activity on the company's networks and systems. Cooperating with law enforcement. Yahoo also cooperated with law enforcement agencies in their investigations of the breaches. Reviewing and improving security policies. The company also reviewed and improved its security policies and procedures to address any vulnerabilities and gaps in its security infrastructure. Improving incident response plans. Yahoo also reviewed and improved its incident response plans to ensure that it was better prepared to respond to future security incidents. It's worth noting that these actions were taken after the breaches had happened, and the company was criticized for not doing enough to protect the user's data and being slow to react. Moreover, the company also faced lawsuits and regulatory fines as a result of the breaches. 4.2 Government and legal responses, e.g., investigations, fines. In response to data breaches, government authorities and legal entities may take a number of actions to hold organizations accountable and protect the rights of affected individuals. Some examples include investigations. Government agencies, such as the Federal Trade Commission (FTC) and the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), may launch investigations into data breaches to determine if the company violated any laws or regulations. These investigations may also look into whether the company had appropriate security measures in place to protect user data and whether the company promptly notified affected individuals of the breach. Fines and penalties. Organizations that are found to have violated laws or regulations may be subject to fines and penalties. For example, the FTC has the authority to fine companies that fail to properly safeguard consumer data, and the SEC can fine companies that fail to disclose data breaches in a timely manner. Civil lawsuits. Affected individuals may also file civil lawsuits against the company for damages related to the data breach. These lawsuits may seek compensation for financial losses, emotional distress, and other harms resulting from the breach. Criminal charges. In some cases, government authorities may bring criminal charges against individuals or organizations involved in a data breach, such as charges of hacking, identity theft, or fraud. Regulation. Government agencies may also create new regulations or laws to protect citizens' personal data, and enforce them more strictly. In the case of Yahoo, it faced numerous lawsuits and regulatory fines as a result of the data breaches. The company had to pay settlements to affected users, was fined by the SEC for not disclosing the breaches in a timely manner, and also faced investigations by government agencies such as the FTC. It's important to note that the legal response to a data breach can vary depending on the jurisdiction and the specific circumstances of the breach. The severity of the penalties and the scope of the investigations can vary widely depending on the country or region the company operates in and the severity of the breach. 4.3 Reactions from the public and media. The public and media reactions to a data breach can vary widely depending on the specific circumstances of the breach and the actions taken by the affected organization. Some common reactions include outrage. Data breaches can elicit a strong emotional response from the public, particularly if sensitive personal information such as financial or health data is compromised. This outrage may be directed at the organization responsible for the breach, as well as at government authorities if they are perceived as not doing enough to protect citizens' data. Demands for accountability. There may be demands for accountability from the public, calling for the organization responsible for the breach to be held accountable for any harm caused. This may include demands for financial compensation for affected individuals, as well as calls for stricter regulations and penalties for companies that fail to protect user data. Calls for change. There may also be calls for change in the way organizations handle and protect personal data, such as calls for more robust security measures, better incident response plans, and increased transparency and disclosure when breaches occur. Media coverage. Data breaches often receive significant media coverage, which can further amplify public reactions. Media coverage may focus on the technical details of the breach, the number of individuals affected, the actions taken by the organization, and any legal or regulatory actions. In the case of Yahoo, the media coverage was intense and widespread, with many articles and reports covering the breaches, their impact on users, and the company's response. The public's reaction was mostly negative, with many users being outraged that their personal information had been compromised and some calling for stricter regulations and penalties for companies that fail to protect user data. It's worth noting that the public's and media's reactions to a data breach can also depend on the company's reputation and trust level before the breach, and the company's response to the breach. If the company had a good reputation and had taken measures to protect user data, the public and media reactions may be less severe. B. Lessons learned. 5.1 Discussion of what can be learned from the Yahoo breaches. The Yahoo data breaches provide several valuable lessons for organizations and individuals when it comes to data security. Some of these lessons include The importance of regular security assessments. The Yahoo breaches highlight the importance of regularly assessing and testing an organization's security systems and processes. This can help identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses that need to be addressed before they can be exploited by attackers. The need for strong incident response plans. The breaches also demonstrate the importance of having strong incident response plans in place to ensure that an organization is prepared to quickly and effectively respond to a security incident. The need for transparency and communication. The way Yahoo communicated and handled the breaches has been criticized as inadequate. Organizations should have a clear plan on how to communicate with their customers and the public in case of a data breach. The need for data encryption. The Yahoo breaches also highlight the importance of encrypting sensitive data. Encryption can help protect data even if it is stolen, making it much harder for attackers to use. The importance of monitoring and detecting suspicious activity. The breaches also demonstrate the importance of monitoring and detecting suspicious activity on networks and systems. This can help organizations detect a breach early and respond quickly to minimize the damage. The importance of employee education and awareness. The breaches also demonstrate the 5.2 recommendations for companies and users on how to better protect against future data breaches. There are several recommendations that companies and users can follow to better protect against future data breaches. Companies conduct regular security assessments and testing to identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses in their systems and processes. Implement robust incident response plans to ensure that they are prepared to quickly and effectively respond to a security incident. Implement strong data encryption to protect sensitive data even if it is stolen. Monitor and detect suspicious activity on networks and systems to detect a breach early and respond quickly. Invest in employee education and awareness programs to help them understand the risks and how to identify and respond to suspicious activity. Have a clear plan for communicating with customers and the public in case of a data breach. Comply with data privacy regulations and laws, such as GDPR and CCPA. Users use strong and unique passwords for different accounts and change them regularly. Use two-factor authentication where available. Be cautious of suspicious emails and links, and don't click on them. Keep software and antivirus updated. Regularly monitor financial accounts and credit reports for suspicious activity. Use a password manager to keep track of multiple passwords. It's worth noting that data breaches are becoming more frequent and sophisticated, and it's impossible to completely eliminate the risk of a data breach. However, by implementing strong security measures and best practices, companies and users can significantly reduce the risk and minimize the impact of a potential breach. 5.3 Suggestions for how to respond effectively in case of a data breach. In case of a data breach, it is important for companies and individuals to respond effectively to minimize the damage and protect themselves. Some suggestions for how to respond effectively include: companies contain the breach. As soon as a breach is detected, take immediate action to contain it and prevent further damage. This may include disconnecting systems from the network, shutting down services, and isolating affected systems. Assess the damage. Conduct a thorough assessment of the scope and impact of the breach. This may involve using forensic tools and techniques to gather evidence, interviewing employees and reviewing logs, and determining which systems and data were affected. Notify affected individuals and authorities. As soon as possible, notify affected individuals and any relevant authorities of the breach. This may include customers, employees, and regulatory bodies. Implement a communication plan. Have a clear communication plan in place to keep affected individuals and relevant parties informed of the situation and the actions being taken. Implement security measures. Implement any necessary security measures to prevent further breaches and protect personal data. Review and improve incident response plans. Review and improve incident response plans to ensure that the company is better prepared for future incidents. Users change passwords. Change passwords for any accounts that may have been compromised. Monitor financial accounts. Monitor financial accounts and credit reports for suspicious activity. Place a fraud alert. Place a fraud alert on credit reports. Consider freezing credit. Consider freezing credit to prevent further damage from identity theft. Be vigilant. Be vigilant of suspicious emails or phone calls, and do not provide personal information unless certain that the request is legitimate. It's worth noting that in case of a data breach, time is of the essence, so it's important for companies and individuals to have an incident response plan in place and have the necessary resources and procedures ready to implement it quickly. Responding quickly and effectively to a data breach can help minimize the damage and protect personal data, reducing the risk of further harm. Be Conclusion. 6.1 Summary of the main points covered in the video. In this video, we discussed the Yahoo data breaches that occurred in 2013 and 2014 and their consequences. We covered the following main points. Information on what data was compromised in the breaches, e.g., email addresses, passwords, personal information. Discussion of how the breaches were discovered and by whom. Impact on Yahoo's reputation and user trust. Effects on affected users, e.g., identity theft, spam emails. Financial consequences for Yahoo, e.g., decline in stock price, loss of users. Actions taken by Yahoo to address the breaches and improve security. Government and legal responses, e.g., investigations, fines. Reactions from the public and media. Discussion of what can be learned from the Yahoo breaches. Recommendations for companies and users on how to better protect against future data breaches. Suggestions for how to respond effectively in case of a data breach. We also noted that data breaches can have severe consequences for both companies and individuals, and it's important for companies to have robust security measures in place and for individuals to take steps to protect themselves. Additionally, it's important for companies to have a clear incident response plan in place and to communicate effectively with affected individuals and relevant authorities in case of a data breach. 6.2 Reiteration of the importance of online security and privacy. The Yahoo data breaches serve as a reminder of the importance of online security and privacy. With an increasing number of individuals and organizations relying on the internet for personal and professional purposes, it's crucial to take steps to protect personal information and sensitive data from cyber threats. In today's digital age, personal information is a valuable commodity and cybercriminals are constantly finding new ways to steal it. A data breach can have severe consequences, including identity theft, financial loss, and loss of privacy. It can also damage the reputation and credibility of a company. Individuals and organizations must take proactive measures to protect themselves online by implementing strong security measures, being vigilant of suspicious activity, and taking steps to protect personal information. This includes using strong and unique passwords, enabling two-factor authentication, being cautious of suspicious emails and links, keeping software and antivirus updated, and monitoring financial accounts and credit reports for suspicious activity. Companies also have a responsibility to protect the personal data of their customers and employees. This includes implementing robust security measures, conducting regular security assessments, having a clear incident response plan, and complying with data privacy regulations. In summary, online security and privacy are critical to protect personal information and sensitive data from cyber threats, and it's important for both individuals and organizations to take steps to protect themselves.